Whoa, guys! Welcome back to another episode of Theory-Based Music. I just showed you something that I wrote a long time ago, and it is going to be the basis of today's lesson because today I am applying everything I have taught you so far, so you understand there's a reason to knowing it, and hopefully it motivates you to want to know it better. So everything you've learned so far from my videos, I thank you and I applaud you, and I can just simply say, as my students, I'm proud of you. You're putting in the work and you're getting the education and you're gaining the skills. And so today I'm going to show you very easily and clearly how to apply everything that is in those prior videos. And I do mean everything. Everything in those videos is going to be used in that progression I showed you today. And I'm going to break that down to show you all the theory that I used along when I wrote it a while back in the day. But how much music theory goes into this piece of music? Along with the Let's get right into what's going on here because you guys can write stuff yourself that you'll love to play, your own music, and let me get you started on how to apply everything you've been learning so far because there's a lot of stuff you've been putting time into, and today I'm going to wrap it up for you. Thus far, what we've been doing before we move farther forward, we need to, like an inchworm, pull the back end up and get caught up with the front. So we need to take all that information we learned, pull it up front, learn how to use it top notch, and now move on to the next set of lessons because we're going to base everything off of what you know so far. So there's enough theory on these videos that we should be applying it now and understanding what's going on with it completely. And that is the fun of teaching this video. I've been waiting to show you guys this video for a very long time because I know you're putting time in and you're putting the work in and you're like, hey man, this is great. And I just can't wait to one day when I can use it. Well, right now I'm going to start showing you what I did and how we use music theory to write that riff that I wrote. Those two pieces combined to make that riff. So let's get right into what we did here. So the lesson is involved with something I'm going to cover today called movable shapes. We're going to discuss how to play movable shapes, what they are, how to find them, and then I'm going to show you how I use them in my song. So by the time this lesson's over, you guys will be able to do the same thing I just did here with whatever chords you want to use. Now, let's get right into it. So, no fluff, no buff. I used movable chords. Movable chords are the triads we learned on paper moved around the guitar. In the beginning of time, everybody played down here, right? We call this the open position. Why do we call this the open position, right? Because a lot of you know it's called the open position. I'm going to tell you why if you don't know. Because it involves using open strings for these chords. That's all it is. It means you're using open strings while playing these chords. That is what the open position means. Don't let anybody tell you different. I don't care if you read something else, then they're wrong. This is where it came from. This is what the originators said. So the guys who made it up can't be wrong, right? You can't the guy that made it up can't be the guy that's telling the story wrong. He's the guy you go to for the truth. And these guys will tell you, well, we got a lot of open strings in there, so we call this the open position. Because there isn't too many other places on the guitar that you strum open strings at when you're playing as many chords as you are, like when you're down here. So down here, everything uses open strings. Down here, rarely anything uses open strings. So why would we call this the open position when there's hardly anything open down here? But down here, everything is open, right? You can hardly play a chord down here that doesn't have open strings. At least not in your popular keys of C, G, D, A. I mean, all these keys, C and G alone, the basic chords, right? They all skip strings. They all got open strings in between them. That is why it's called the open position. we're going to learn chords that are not in the open position because we're tired of playing down there and we want to be creative. And this allows you to reach your personal best and be as creative as you want to be and show what you think cool chords are when you write your music. Just listen to every band you hear, and every single guitar player picks different movable chords to make the sound of that band. It's everybody. Because if they're not playing down here, then they're moving movable chords. I don't care if it's a power chord. When you play the same shape, it's called movable because you're not changing it. You're just moving it. It's movable because you're moving every string that your finger's under. There are no open strings that you can't move, so it's called movable. So a movable chord is a chord where all the notes that you're looking for are in this chord and can all be moved. It doesn't have to be all the notes of a chord because a power chord is 2 of the 3 notes of a triad. But we move this chord around. And we call it a chord, when technically by scholastic definitions, it's not really a chord. It's 2 notes. But because it has a sound that's very powerful, we just call it a power chord. But in order for a chord to be called a chord, technically you need a third in there to determine major, minor, diminished, or augmented. So we don't have that with a movable shape like this. We just have the movable shape itself. Or it could be a bar chord. Could be movable stuff, right? That's movable. These shapes they're movable. So movable means whatever set of notes you're using, all of them are moving along the guitar when you move the shape. If I take this D major shape of open D, right? I know there's a D here, there's an F sharp, and an A. So all 3 notes of the chord would move if I moved it a whole step in 2 frets, would make it an E major. If I move it a half step to F, I know I've got an F, A, and a C because all the fingers moved. I didn't leave anything behind. But if I move this open C major chord and I want to play C sharp major, well, that's not it. And this certainly is not D major. Because I could not move the open strings, right, folks? I couldn't bring them with me up the guitar. They stayed open, so they're just not moving. I got open notes that are here. Well, I'm moving the whole set of chords up, and this note is staying here. So that doesn't work, and that's why it's not movable. So now you understand, hopefully, what a movable shape is. It's something where all the notes of the chord shape move. Now I throw a little D, F, G thing together. They're not in the same key, but you can make it work. This is a perfect example of a movable shape that you would say, I know my theory, I'm learning it, I know this is in the key of G, but I know if I move it to this F, well, that's not in the same key with a D major because I got an F sharp chord playing with a note that has an F note in it. And then I got a G here, but you know F and G are in the same key because you've studied the key of C now. But you're also thinking to yourself, wow, you know what? This chord of G, it's in the same key as this D. So now if things are going to start to work because nobody ever said that because 2 chords are not in the same key, meaning this D and this F, nobody ever said it wouldn't work. No, let's fix that, and let's fix your confusion if that's what you're thinking. There are a lot of yous watching this video from a lot of places around the world, and I'm going to explain something for all of yous. Music theory is just facts about what's in the keys and what's not in the keys. It's just like driving through towns. We know where the borders are, so we know when we're in one town, and when we look who's joining us there, a little Amy Bear. We know when we leave a town where the border is, right? So you know if you're getting a ticket, which town to pay the ticket in. Same thing with the guitar. We want to know where the borders are in the key of G, where they are in the key of C, so that if we cross over from one to the next, we at least know. But nobody ever said you can't cross. And I can mix and match any way I want, just like a chef. And so if I can get this D major with an F sharp to work with this F with an F, then I can do that. There's no reason why it wouldn't work. This is art. There is no rules. There are facts to the theory, and that's it. What you do with it, there are no rules. So if you're like a lot of people that ask me, can I do this? Can I do that? Yes, you can always do everything you want to do. You will follow rules and guidelines, so to speak, if you're doing something within the rules. For example, if you're flatting a 5, you don't just go flatting a 2 or a 6. You flat the 5 if it says flat the 5. You can flat whatever you want, but you don't call a flatted 2 a flatted 5. You keep it to the truth. So what I'm saying is you can do whatever you want, but facts are facts, you know. You can break the laws if you want to, but they're still laws, and they need to be enforced. But no one said you're not going to go breaking them. So the same thing here. Am I breaking the rules by leaving the key? Well, I don't think there's a rule that says I can't leave the key. Just says make sure if you do that it works. And I think this works. Works for me. And that's how you mix chords. If you like it, great, it works. It's in the one key, you're in and out of the keys. So now I'm in and out of 2 keys, C major and G major. You can technically say I'm floating out. This is D major to F, so neither one of these are in one key. So we could say this starts in the key of G or D and leaves to go to the key of C. Goes back to the key of G, right? And since this is the G, we'll say we're in the key of G now. Because D and G are in the key of G and D, we could say we're in D major or G major, you pick. And then you got an F, so you can say I'm going from the key of D to the key of F, or key of C, back to the key of D, back to the key of C, back to the key of F, or C rather, or G rather, or D, whichever you're picking. You could say this is the key of G on the 5. You can be like, I'm in the key of C major on the 4, right? C, D, E, F. And then you could say I'm going to the 5. Since I'm already on the 4, there's my 4 and 5 in the key of C. You can justify it any way you want because these chords are in more than one key. But just realize they're in different keys, but that doesn't mean you can't use them. All right? Doesn't mean you can't play them around. I'll show you something. I'm going to sidetrack you for a second and show you something I do all the time that I made up myself, and I don't really care what people think about it. I take the flatted 5 positioning of the spot where you hit a flatted 5. So let's say you're in A minor here. You got the A minor pentatonic, and we're using the flatted 5. Right? Well, I happen to just go like this and add another version, like another spot for the flatted 5. When I play the flatted 5s, I just sometimes repeat this little chromatic lick thing again. So you do whatever you want to do. I mean, Dimebag Darrell had his own scale called the Dime Blues scale. The man made up his own stuff. Made up names for his own scale. You do whatever you want to do. You make it up any way you want, and you can call it whatever you want. You do whatever you want. I can make a name for this and call this the mezzyshredder whatever scale. Hey, Mezzy, what are you doing there? I don't know. I'm combining a couple flatted 5s. Right? Here's the A flat. So am I like in D minor now because I got a flatted 5 in D? You do whatever you want. And that's just an example of me saying, you know what, I don't really care if this isn't supposed to be played this way. Whenever I play this note in the flatted 5 situation, like when I'm in here, I almost always add this extra little thing. Because to me, it makes the whole lick sound longer, and longer to me is better. Bigger is better to me. I'm the guy that will say more is better, bigger is better. I'm not that guy that says less is more. No. You can go to somebody else's channel for that. Because here, for me, everything in excess is best. And that's everything. Money, food, cars, guitars, licks, notes, chords, you name it, houses, sunglasses, sneakers. More is better for me. That's what I like. I got 1 billion t-shirts. I'm still short by 1 billion. I need 1 billion more. More is better. And so when it comes to notes and licks, if you notice, I like to play a lot of notes. So to me, more is better. And I added those extra pieces in because I think it sounds better. And whatever you think sounds better is what you do. You never let somebody else influence what you want to do, ever. Unless they're paying you the big bucks. Then, cash is king. They want to throw you a few grand to play some licks. Hey, you play it however they want you to play it. A guy wants you to hop on a foot for $3,000. You play the thing hopping on a foot for $3,000. When the money comes out and the guitar's involved, you do what they want. Because what better way to earn money than playing the guitar? Right? I mean, come on. That's what we're all here for. Because everybody, or I shouldn't say everybody, most A lot of people would love the opportunity to just wake up and play guitar for a living and make the same money they're making now or more playing the guitar. So it never hurts to be educated and to learn more. So to me, excess is best. You can't have too much of something unless you're drowning in it, I guess. But you understand my point. I like a lot of everything. Who doesn't want 30 killer guitars instead of one? So that's the idea here is I just added it. I felt more was better. And anyway, let's move on now to this actual lick. So this lick that I wrote here is using movable shapes. Now that we understand movable shapes, let me show you how I find movable shapes and educate you on a few secrets to make it really, really easy. So the first big bomb I'm going to drop on everybody, which I don't see anybody on the internet telling you guys this, and I don't know why. All these guys got these badass channels. Everybody's such a badass player, but they don't tell you all the things you need to know to be that same badass player. So I'm about to reveal a piece of information I know as far as I can tell. I've searched a lot of stuff on the internet, a lot of videos. I don't see this information coming. Here it comes. If you want to find a movable shape, I'm going to give you the secret to it right now in a couple sentences, and then I will show you everything I just said. It's really just this simple. That's why nobody else is telling it to you, because either they're not a good teacher or they just don't want you to know. It's got to be one of the two. What else could it be? Now, when you're looking for a movable shape, here's the big secret. If you find, and let's start with the triad, and then you can move to the seventh chord later. So let's just refer to 3 notes at a time right now. When you're looking for any triad, right? Any 3 notes of a chord, C, E, G, D, F, A, D, F sharp A, G, B, D, E, G, B, whatever you're looking for. If you find any one of the 3 notes, guys, any one of them, the other 2 notes always, like the sun comes up in the east, always, you always will find the other 2 notes on the adjacent strings next to that note. Let's start with some examples. I find let's do E minor, E, G, B, right? Well, here's the B note. So you may not know yet that you're sitting on an E minor chord, but now you know you are, because if I just told you, if you find any one of the 3 notes, you know you're onto the chord. So you go, hey, here's a B note. This note can technically make any chord that involves a B, because all those other notes will be near the B. Whether it's E, G, B, B, D, F sharp, right? G, B, D. I'll show them all to you then. What the hell, right? Let's do this B. We'll start with an E minor chord. E, G, B. B is the 5 of E minor. Let's go with the 5 first. Then the 3 is G. Then there's the E. Kabanga, boom, E minor. How hard was that? I mean, seriously, this is not a rhetorical question. I'm asking you, how hard is that? You find the B, you know from looking at your paper, if you don't have it memorized yet, that E minor is still E, G, B. So you found one of the 3, you're guaranteed to find the others. That's my lesson for you. Remember, you find one, you found them all. There's the 5, there's the 3, there's the 1. You could have went to an E first and just found an E, bingo, and then led to yourself to a G and then a B, 1, 3, 5, and you would have went like this instead. But you're not always you're going to be looking at a letter and not knowing if you want it to be a 1 or 3 or a 5. So it could be all of them at once. And you don't know. You found a B. So are you looking for E minor or G major or B minor or B diminished? Who knows? You found a B. You can find anything off that B. You now know every single chord with a B is tied to this B. So every single kind of B chord there is, you can find all the notes because you found this B. And every chord that involves a B. So any E chord is here. Any G chord is right off this B. That's what I'm trying to explain. Let's look for a G major chord. Here's a G. We need a D somewhere, right? Well, there's a D. There's a B, right? There's a D. And here's a G. So oh my gosh, look. That's the same shape I was just playing. Here it is as a D. D sharp major, E major, F major, F sharp major, kabanga, boom, right where we were, G major. You can find it by looking for the 3 letters of the chord, G, B, D, like we just did, or you could take this movable shape and count it up the guitar. D, D sharp, E, F, F sharp, G, bang. So guess what? Where's there an A major? G sharp, A. We're in the key of A major, there it is. You got it for a future date when you're playing in the key of A or any key with an A chord from now on. You know how to find it. You can find this one shape finds every single major key on this string, on these strings. You find all 12 major chords now. That's what I'm saying. You find 1, here's the D. Now you have all of them all the way back to your D. So 12 frets up from this one is the next one. If this is on 2 and 3, then we go to 14 and 15 and kabanga, boom. There it is again. Simple, right? So that's movable shapes. There's the E minor. We now know this is a major shape of D that we just slide it up. There it is. Okay? This. At the 2nd fret, we learned it's F sharp minor. So look, G minor, A minor, B minor. I'm looking in the camera, so I just got to get it right for you guys. Look at this A minor. Let's take a look. A, root. E is the 5. C is the 3. Boom, A minor. That means if you know your B minor chord, just slide it up and it'll equal all those notes of B minor, B, D, F sharp. All right, now let's look at what I was looking at when I played my riff for you guys. Let's take a look at what I did. See my hands here? Let's see. All right, let's take a look at these set of shapes. I'm not even going to tell you what they are. I'm going to teach you how to find what I'm playing. So let's just take a look. I got a 4th string, 9th fret right here, right? What is that? That's a B. My second finger's on the 2nd string of the 8th fret. G. We got B and G. And I got a D. Isn't that a D, folks? All right, D. See it? Octave to the 5th fret, A string D. G, B, D, folks. G major. You hear that? G, B, D. Now this chord shows up again right here, but just not in order like that. But I do use it. I go like this to this, and I go right back to this same shape, and I put it here. So eventually I'm going to take this G and move it down a whole step, which makes this F major. So the G becomes an F, the B becomes an A, the D becomes a C, right? F, A, C. Let's look at that. Here's my A, right? There's my F, there's my C, F, A, C, G. But then I go to this shape, which if you realize, this is just an A major, A, split up. I'm playing only the 3 center strings of 2, 3, and 4 though. So we got A, move it up a whole step, it's a B major, a half step becomes a C, which I am using it there. So you now know I'm using a C major and a D major. So let's go over my shapes. I've got a G major shape, an F major shape, I've got a D major shape, I've got a C major shape. So G major to D major stays in the key, G to D, right? We got a 1 to 5, and we've got an F to a C. We've got what do we got? G to D, right? So G, A, B, C, D. You could say this is 1 to 5, and then this is F to C. You could say that's F, the key of F from 1 to 5 also. Now it works just fine, but we're playing 2 different keys simultaneously. And I can, by the way, we just strum this a billion different ways. There's really no one way. If I was tracking it, I'd pick a way, and then I'd track it like that, and then live, I would just change it up for a variety. See, so different ways to play it. This way emphasizes the upstroke. It's 1 down, and it's all ups. Those are all ups. Only that first one is... That first one's a down, and they're all upstrokes. This is an up. I'm going like this. A lot of times I'll just hit this very quickly as a small mutation. When you speed this up, you don't hear that. It blends into the sound. Because without it, you would just have this. So now you know how prominent that little thing I'm doing is. That little thing. Otherwise, this, which you can barely hear that A string, but without it, it's simply So that is the pedal tone there that I explained in my other videos when I say, hey, I got a pedal tones. I'm going to show you how to play pedal tones. There's why I use the pedal tone. You need it. The whole riff has the pedal tone through every single one of these chords. I can't even play that. The riff isn't even playable without it, because I'd have to fake it and slow it down like this and just be like. Can you see that it's not even the same thing? So sidestepping for a second, talking about the pedal tone. If you're not a master of the pedal tone, you are lacking one of the biggest guitar skills ever created. And you should feel bad about that. Bad enough that makes you want to actually go and learn it. Because if you don't, sorry, man, I'm just going to tell it to you straight. I don't sugarcoat anything. You stand no chance of reaching your personal best at rock guitar that involves things like pedal tones if you're not going to learn it. So it's like saying if you want to be an auto mechanic, but you don't really want to learn how the combustible part of the engine works and the firing of everything, then I don't care how many tune-ups you do and how many tires you change. You're not a technician. You don't even know how the engine actually works. So it's the same thing here. You got to know the ins and outs, okay? Now, pedal tones are humongous, and I go over on my videos, I make it very easy to master the skills needed. You just watch them, because I'm here to help. And again, another easy video. Everything is about being simple and easy here. So just find that video. It's probably titled something like that. If not, I'll tell you what I'll do. I'll put the pedal tone video in this video for you. I'll link it at the top at the end of the video. It'll be the pedal tone video. I'll find it somewhere and put it in here for you. That's the pedal tone thing. But look, getting back to these chords, this is just a movable major shape of GBD going to another movable shape for D major, which really, this is just an open A chord, but we can't squeeze it like this. It's too small, so we play like that. So this, you already know this one. This is just your A major we showed you down here. We went up A, B, C, and then the D. So, and then like that. You get in here. Now, if we didn't have these chords, right? Let's just say you're not able to learn these yet, and you're like, Mezzy, this video is way beyond me. That's fine. You can still play this in the open position. I just want you to see how different they sound down there, because they are the same chords, G to D, F to C, and I'll even strum it the same way, up with the upstrokes. It's just not the same. So the voicings over here, which is the order the notes are in, the voicing to me is sweeter. The higher the notes, the sweeter the sound. That is a rule on every instrument. So I'm a higher, I'm going to get a sweeter sound than down low. It blends better and it's not so harsh on the ear. This is harsher versus then what I do later on is I arpeggiate the chords. Then I bring in the octave to the low note. Now let's take a look. I'm playing a G chord. We go to the D, the A note. The 5 of the chord is the one I hit the octave on. I go to the high A here in the D chord. I go to the same thing on the C chord. I hit the high G. Now, let's get into the deeper end of the theory here. Because we now know we're mixing the keys of G and C basically together. I say G to D, key of G major. This is going to be F to C. So we've got our keys of G major and F major. They sit next to each other in the circle of fifths, as you just learned in the prior video. So again, that's just another reason why they work. They're very close in their set of notes. Now we move to the part of the riff that completely changes the entire sound. So far, we're splitting between the key of G major and F major. We are now rolling down to this. This riff ends two different ways, depending on how I want to end it. Now let's talk about the theory, because there's a lot of theory going on here. We now move to the key of A minor for this riff, because it's based around the A pedal tone and the A chord. It's now using what I call the pentatonic power chords. All the way up to this chord. We got an A, a C, and a D. So since three of these chords are in the pentatonic scale, we're getting a pentatonic vibe. Now, if I continue to the E and the G, that's fine. Because if I do that, it's going to want to, if I use the E and the G power chords here on 9 and 12, then this riff is going to want to pull to the A, because it stays to the key of A then, and we'll need the root of A as the final note. You see how it ends on the A? It's high. I reach the root. Ga-bang, ga-boom. The riff sounds finished. Now I'm going to show you this riff converted to the key of E minor, and how it will not end on the A, because it won't sound right if it ends on A, because I won't be in the key of A anymore. I'm going to put it in the key of E minor. So what I'm going to do is start in the key of A minor and end in E minor by using A, C, and D from the A minor pentatonic scale. And then I'm going to go to the, I'm actually going to move it. I'm sorry, I made a mistake. I'm going to go to the F and the D and make it sound like it's in the key of D minor, not E minor. I made a mistake there. Right? A, C, D. Right? Here's going to be the F and the G. Now watch. Now that note sounds like the final note, and this is G and D. So from this G, when you put the F in there, I guess the best thing for me to say here is when you switch out the E and put the F in, you're clearly changing the sound, so you're clearly changing the key. And you have A, C, D, F, and G, which is really D, F, G, A, C flipped around. So you're really in the key of D minor, but you're ending on the G because it's the highest note. But it takes the pull away from the A, is my point. When you play this F note, this F chord, in the same set of power chord notes, and just take out the E, put the F in, you're going from A, C, D, E, G to A, C, D, F, G. And when you switch out the E to the F, you change the root from the A to the D. And now it doesn't sound like it should end on an A chord anymore. It sounded okay ending on the G because there's a D in it and you're in the key of D. F, F, G. And then I throw a little tail on the end. And since I'm in D minor, I'd end on the D right there. Now I'm using my second finger because I can. I taught you to use your second and third and your first, and then move to things with your second when you learn how to bend with second and third first, or first. Then go to the second finger and learn how to go. Because that's the last, first we need to know these first. So don't see me do that and just jump to that. Go back and learn this one first. But that is the explanation of how we're using this theory. So let's go back over. We got A minor pentatonic scale. D minor pentatonic scale. Go to the D minor box 1, which would be D and F. I hit the G for D, F, G, A, C type of thing. D, F, G, A, C is D minor pentatonic. So we got 3 of the 5 right there. Now I'm going to follow up box 1 of D minor with my tapping hand And my other hand is going to walk the key of D minor up some of these frets. So I ask myself, if I tap this G, is it in the key of D minor? The hell it is. Yes, sir. Is D in there? Oh, yeah. But is B flat in the key of D minor? Oh, yeah. What about the F? Oh, yeah. What about C? Oh, yeah. And the G? Oh, yeah. So you know what that means? I can be bombed out of my gore and not have to do it and not make mistakes. I just got to travel right up the string. Right? You can be sleepy and tired and have not slept for 9 days and keep your eyes open. Close them. You just go right up the string because none of these notes leave the fret. So simply just go and just walk yourself up D minor box 1. Go. And if you want to learn how to tap, you got to look at my on-off video. On-off. I show you how to start making nice tapping moves in 5 or 10 minutes that will last you a lifetime. So go back and watch that video. There's just too many videos for me to refer to, so you're going to have to just go back and catch my catalog because I teach you everything. I told you. I keep telling you over and over. I teach you everything. And if it's not there, well, then ask, and I'll put it up because I'm trying to get to everything. So, guys, this is movable shapes. This is how you use them. Use your music theory using your movable shapes. I hope this makes the shapes easy to understand. It really isn't so difficult. Here I am. Hey, guys. So leave me a comment if you don't understand something, because I want you to know it. It's not supposed to be that hard. I could teach this stuff to a 12-year-old if they had a year of guitar under their belt. So if a 12-year-old with 1 year of guitar starting at 11 can learn this, there's no reason why you guys can't learn it at whatever age you are. And I don't want to hear that you've been out of school for a while and that you're older. I don't care how old you are. I don't even care if you got more gray on your face than me. If you're breathing, you can learn it. It's only when you tell yourself you can't that you can't, because you just shut yourself down because you just told yourself you can't. So as soon as you say that, you're done and you're beat. But give yourself the chance and you'll always reach. You'll always make it. And these videos will help you do that. So thank you for watching. I hope I educated you in a solid way. Continue to watch my channel. Like and subscribe if you like what you're seeing. I can always give you remote lessons if you hit me up at mezzyshredder@gmail.com. My lessons are cheap. They're like cheap music store lessons. They're the same as any music store. They're nothing special. I don't try to whack anybody for cash. I'm trying to educate you as inexpensively as possible. So most likely every music store is in the $25, $30 range for half-hour lessons. I'm somewhere in the same area just like that. Give me a call or message me if you want something private. You could do 1 lesson, no lessons. You could do 5 a month, 1 a month, 1 every other month. I don't care what the schedule is. You do whatever you want to do. You make up your own thing as you go, but if you want me to help you, I'm here to help you. That's what I do. Thank you for watching. I'll see you in another video.